Hey guys, so today is, what is it today? It's Thursday, the 19th of December. And I am currently on a break from work because I've decided that I am going to do my Christmas cards. I bought this box of 10 Christmas cards because I don't have a large number of friends to send these things to, and the rest are abroad, so I do electronic calendars, cards. But in any case, I thought as I'm doing this, writing down the messages for the Christmas cards, for the friends that I'll be seeing this week, I thought I multitask. Essentially, I have my trusted laptop here because I am doing a financial reset, and that involves me looking at my rental properties. I have 3 rental properties at the moment, hoping to make a 4th purchase in 2025. And I was just trying to see, as part of my reset, the goals that I set for my rental properties, where I am with those, and if there's any changes that I would like to make. And then a thought sprang to my mind, and that was, do I regret my rental properties, especially in this last year, because all they have done is bled me out? That's the question. So let's get in today's video. Okay, so I bought my first rental property in 2021. I bought my home in 2020. A year later, I bought my first rental property, and then year after that I bought my second. Year after that I bought my third, and 2024 is the first year since I started buying properties that I have not bought a property, and I'm okay with that. I wasn't okay with that, but I'm okay with that because the way year 4 has been set up, it has been trying, to say the least. Let me remove the cushion I'm sitting on because my butt hurts. But it has been challenging, to say the least, financially speaking. And having spoken to my financial advisor, he was like, no girl, this year is no can do. But next year, however, we can do something. So obviously I'm looking forward to 2025 and seeing if I can actually purchase another property. I do want to buy another property. That's part of my 5-year plan. Next year is year 5, and I was thinking, highly emphasize this point, of buying my first HMO, which is housing of multiple occupants. So for example, my 3-bed right now, I rent it out, each and every single room, to different people, but maybe then convert downstairs into, because my living room is so huge, that I convert it into 2 rooms and then rent those out as well, and all of that good jazz. I think every single county in the UK has got their very own definition of an HMO property. I think they have to be between 6 to 7 rooms being rented out for it to qualify as an HMO. I could be wrong, but I think that is what it is for my area. They need to be at least 7 rooms rented out, and then that will be considered an HMO. And then there's all these licenses involved, and I haven't finished my reading up on this, so this is why I'm saying I'm thinking, because I have had a change of heart and I'm not really sure if I'm going to stick to still buying an HMO. But anyway, that has been my 5-year plan. That's been what I've been working towards. Now, taking a look back at my 2024 with respect to my rental properties, I'm going to do a screen record and walk you through the income that I got from these rental properties, the goal that I set for myself for 2024, and where I am at with that. I do have my trusted notebook here because you guys know I write everything down, and I did write a goal for myself for my rental properties. I wrote an income goal of at least £35,000 from the rental properties that I had. So that is the goal that I set, £35,000. So I'm gonna bring my laptop down here and do a screen record and just see if I was able to make that go. Obviously I already know, but you guys don't, so I'm gonna start the screen record now. And as you can see, these are the 3 rental properties. At the beginning of the year, they all rented for this amount, so I was bringing in at least over 2,800 every single month from these rental properties. In December, we're currently here, so there's been a £50 increase with my first rental property. I haven't increased my second rental property. These tenants moved in January this year, and we've already renewed for another year for next year, and I haven't increased the rent for that. And then rental property number 3, there's been about a £28.50 increase with this one. This is a standard with the agent. If I was going to increase, I was probably going to increase it by, say, between £25 to like £50, and then just leave it alone for a little bit. But anyway, it was increased by that. So looking high level at the income and my income goal, I actually didn't manage to make the 35k that I was hoping to make. I made 34,914 pounds from this. But even though I brought this in, one thing I always say when I talk about my rental properties is I love that my rental properties are self-sufficient, in that the income that they bring me is enough for me to cover my agent fees, and it's enough for me to cover the mortgage and majority of the bills, and I get a little bit, just a little bit of profit from them, which I love for me, because every little helps when it comes to my budget. I do not need the income from my rental properties to live off. That is one thing I must say. So I don't solely rely on this income. When it comes, it normally goes to my goals or funding my hobbies, which is travel for me. So the first rental properties, I have management fees. I pay about 10%. Or thereabouts for this, 9 to 10%. I can't remember which one. I've got the mortgage. The mortgage is actually coming up for the 5-year renewal next year, so this will be an interesting one. Then I've got buildings and contents insurance. So this one is, I'm going to change it in the new tracker, but this would just say buildings, because I don't have any content in any of my rental properties. I rent them out empty. So the agent who I spoke to about my buildings and contents insurance, she was asking me, if there's anything else I wanted to insure, like the content in these rental properties. I'm like, outside of the white goods, I don't have anything in there. And she was like, well, then why do you have the content part of the insurance? I was just like, because I have it for my home, I thought I needed to have it for the rental property. And she's like, no, the white goods are included in the buildings part of the insurance. So I was like, oh yeah, that is so true. So we changed that. And then landlord home care. So this is for my gas and electric. I have it with British Gas. And then for the first rental property, I did buy the washing machine for that property, so I have insurance for that as well. I can look into this, maybe cancel it because it might be covered somewhere else, but for now I'm okay with it. So for this rental property at the moment, it was costing me about just under £600, okay, and it's still just under £600, and it is bringing in that amount. So with this rental property, I am making a bit of a profit, not much, but still something. Obviously, if you see any yellow in the income, is when the change came into effect. So this tenant, I got the property end of June, beginning of July, and within 3 days entering into July, this tenant rented it and has been in there ever since. So I try not to increase the rent that often, but I'm reminded that this is a business, but I'm human, okay? So I feel because I'm feeling the economy as well, so I'm sure my tenants are as well. So anyway, I increased it by a bit, and he was happy with the increase. But yeah, so that's why the yellow is there. And then for the third rental property, the increase came in October, and like I said, for the second one, I haven't done any increase at all. Then I also, because the rent went up, so did the management fee. And then previously I used to pay for the buildings and content insurance annually, but then I moved to just paying for it monthly. And then for the landlord home care, this I made some changes to it, so it went down a smidget, and yeah, that's that's where we are with the first rental property. The second rental property is the one where all my troubles for 2024 have come from. Everything that could go wrong with the property had gone wrong with this property, and I'm thankful that I had like my own personal emergency fund that I was able to dip into and was able to cover most of the costs. Some of it I could have avoided if I just called my damn insurance. I have insurance. Same thing. I have landlord buildings and contents insurance, which I have since adjusted, as you can see here in the yellow. We removed the contents part of it. It didn't go down by too much, but it's okay. But the biggest change for this one was the fact that my mortgage went up. Now, you guys would not believe, but in 2023, my mortgage for... Oh, wait, sorry. I jumped. Oh, I confused myself. So the second rental property, like I said, is where all the problems came about, and also because we jumped with this the mortgage for this went from being the last 250, under 250. Guys, I was making £1,000 from this property and only paying under 450 in terms of all expenses for this property. So I was keeping about 550 for this rental property until July came along, and Warris was trying to negotiate with the lenders. I went on standard variable for this 2 months and I paid over £1,000. That was the first shock. And then finally, when we agreed on the rates, again, I was moving from rates 0% rates, or even like this, the first mortgage was like, I want to say 2.1% to 7% that I moved to. So I went from paying just under 250 to over £600. And yeah, that, oh my god, that shook me. But obviously I understood the landscape that we're currently in with the interest rates and all of that. So it is what it is, you know, boo-hoo for me. It is what it is. So there's really nothing I could do about that. But we locked in the deal. If I could get out of this one when interest rates drop a little bit, I would try. I mean, I may have to pay a fee, but it might be worth it in the long run. But we shall see. We shall see. But that was the second rental property. It's the one that cost me the most. And if you look in my variable, wherever the color is, so if it's this red here, pinkish red, then the cost is for the first rental property. If it's the orange and white, then the cost is for the second rental property. And if it's blue and white, then the cost is for the third rental property. But as you can see in the variable tab, the majority of the payments I've had to make across the year have been for the second rental property. Even though it's bringing in the most income at the moment, it also cost me an arm and a leg majority of 2024. This one did really make me question whether I wanted to keep this property and if I still wanted to remain a landlord, if I'm honest. But it has taught me a lot, and I'm going to use that for future properties. So absolutely will continue with this. I do have some regrets in that I should have contacted my insurance and then let them cover these costs. As you can see, there were some repairs that cost me a lot of money. This one was for the bathroom. The first in January and in April were bathroom costs, and then these other ones were little residual things. This one was tenancy renewal with the agency that I use. It always costs me a pretty penny, but yeah, it was something else. Let me just put it that way. But yeah, so I think, no wait, this one should also be 480, not 180. I'll have to look at the numbers, but I think this one is 480 because it was also tenancy renewal for my first rental property, and the tenancy renewal is always around the same price anyway. So I think that is, yeah, because these were mortgage fees with my advisor, but this one was definitely a tenancy renewal. So I'll relook at my numbers again. But the second one really did make me question being a landlord, if it was worth it in the long run, but I still think it's worth it. The third rental property is one where I personally feel like I barely make any profit from this one, because it brings me 978 now, and I'm spending like 800 pounds, almost 900 pounds on this property. So it's one I actually intend to keep for life if I'm allowed, but it's also one that the first rental property, I always say that, you know, in my will it goes to my nephew, and then the third one goes to my niece. The second one, it's a free flow for me at the moment because it's a leasehold, and I was trying a leasehold out and see how that works, but I also had intention of buying the building that the leasehold is in, so we shall see. I'm still playing around with these things, you know. My 10-year plan, 20-year plan has got all of this in there, but I'm playing around with the second one. So that one does not yet have an owner, it's just an asset in my arsenal. But yes, so the third rental property has been interesting, but it has been a good one. It's just that the agent that I use for the first and the second one is the same, but the agent for the third one is different, and that has been driving me nuts. And right now, fingers crossed, the tenant decides they want to move somewhere else, but the property is beautiful, it's exquisite, there's no reason to leave, right? So I don't want them to leave, but right now, with the way the contract with the agents is set up, only if the tenant leaves can I get out of this contract with them. I was foolish, or wait another 3 years, which honestly I don't want to, but I've got no choice at the moment. So yeah, but otherwise the majority of the costs that I've endured with my rental properties has come from the second one, which has had me questioning everything, like literally everything in life. So there is that. Looking at in terms of like expenses, I want to say January was a very expensive month with the first rental property, you know, requiring bathroom repairs. April was the worst one overall because I had to pay about £4,000 to replace the entire bathroom. It was a whole mess, and I really wish I had used my insurance for this, but for some reason it wasn't clicking in. I don't know why. I just thought, I got the money, so I'll just use the money that I have. It's not the right thought. I should have gone to the insurance, let them do what they need to do. My premium would have gone up a little bit, but I still wouldn't have had to fork out £6,000. So yeah, so that was extremely expensive. July was no better. Well, July was a little bit better, August was a little bit better, but still expensive. And then I had some more costs in October. That was expensive as well, and it was such a pain, but otherwise that's it. So 1 2 3 4 5 months out of 12, not bad, not bad. The rest were fine, but hopefully for 2025 we'll have a better situation with my rental properties, because if I am honest, it has not been that hard outside of the second rental property, and all the things that has gone wrong. It hasn't really been that bad, if I am honest. It has been pretty easy, especially as I'm very hands off. I have no intention of managing these properties myself. I feel like if my parents lived closer to me, I would probably hand over the management to them, and I just pay my parents for managing the properties on my behalf. But they are far away and I'm closer to my property, so if there was going to be any management, like, at least for now, I would have to do it because I'm closer to my rental properties than they are. But honestly, I travel way too much. I'm rarely home to put my tenants through a landlord like myself, because if they were to come in the middle of the night, I probably wouldn't pick up because my D&D is on my phone all the time anyway. And if something urgent, I'll probably advise them to call 911 instead of me. So I don't want to be that type of a bad landlord, if I'm honest. So I knew going into this that I definitely would not want to manage the rental properties myself, so I'm paying the fee. Obviously, if I was going to take out, I spend how much on so I spend for one property under 1,500. The second property under 1,500. It's the third property which has been pretty interesting, with about £2,000 in fees, which I'm not a fan of. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that at all. So that's why I want to get away from them and go to the first agency that I use. I should have stuck with my gut, because the agency that I used for the third one, honestly, I have known from the get-go that they were bad, but I figured maybe on the landlord front they were different. They are not. They are the same. I don't even want to say what I want to say, but they're just as bad on the tenancy side as they are on the landlord side. Let me put it that way, because they were the estate agent we had when I first ever rented a property in the UK as a student. They were bad then, and we're talking 2009. This is 2024, and this agency is still that bad, but they're so well known in the country. Don't know why, but they are, and it's difficult. Let me just put it that way. But yeah, so I do have some regrets with my rental property. Second one only though. The other ones have been fine. Outside of the third one and the management company I have definitely learned a lot. There are so many changes that I'm definitely going to implement in the future, but I did not technically reach my goal. I am let me see, I'm going to do quick math with a calculator. I said my goal was 35,000 and I made 34,914 instead, so 86 pounds short. How crazy is that? Away from my goal, but that's okay. I'm still happy with the target. Moving on to 2025 and the goal that I would like to set for that, like I said, I'm intending to buy another rental property in 2025. So with that, I would like to aim for 40k coming from my rental properties overall. I think it's doable, and I'm putting 40k instead of like something like 50k, purely because if I start my search in January, and let's say I'm able to find something by March that I like and is the right price, it could take until most likely July before I can actually make the purchase. So with that, it really just reduces like how many months I could get rent from it. So with that, and if the rents right now are about £1,000 in my area, so if we do that, then potentially I could make between 4,000 to 6,000 pounds from that rental property, based on when I complete the purchase and start receiving rent. So that's why I'm just lowballing this one. But yeah, so 40 would be ideal for 2025, but I'm not really too fast either way. I'm just happy with the rental properties. I'm glad the tenants are happy as well. So I think, yeah, I think all good. Considering everything that I've endured with my second rental property, it's been great, and I love it for me. But yes, that is my overview of my rental properties for 2023. I have submitted my taxes, so there we go. So yeah.